All right, welcome back to Stopping the Who. My name is Dave. Well, we got breaking news about what we heard yesterday from the World Health Organization and some interesting things that are going on in addition to the announcement that, yes, it appears that we have a global public health emergency. MPOX vaccine maker stock, its price soars after WHO declares global health emergency. Bavarian Nordic share prices jumped 17% in early trading today in Copenhagen after climbing 12% on Wednesday when the WHO declared MPOX, which used to be monkeypox but now is known as MPOX, a global health emergency following outbreaks in nearly a dozen African countries. Sweden today announced the first case outside of Africa. And there you have it. There's your container with 8 doses. So the company's share jumped 17% in early trading. And the WHO cited recent outbreaks in the Democratic Republic of Congo and neighboring nations in its declaration. In the first known infection outside of Africa, Sweden today confirmed one case of a very contagious strain of MPOX, according to NBC News. The WHO's European regional office in Copenhagen said it was discussing with Sweden how to best manage the newly detected case, according to Medical Express. This is the second time in 2 years the WHO has declared MPOX a public health emergency of international concern. Uh, that acronym, by the way, is pronounced fake. Pronounced fake, all right? PHEIC. Which is its highest form of an alert. So when they declare a fake, that's their highest form of alert. You can't make this stuff up. The announcement follows a declaration Tuesday by the Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention that MPOX is a continent-wide public health emergency. Last week, the WHO triggered the process to grant emergency use listing to 2 MPOX vaccines, although it didn't name which ones it would list. The agency also invited manufacturers of MPOX vaccines to submit an expression of interest for emergency use listing. Of course, they would want to be a part of that. The DRC, where the outbreak is connected and most severe, has approved 2 vaccines. That would be Japan's LC16 and Bavarian Nordic's Jynneos, which is also marketed as Imvamune and Imvanex. I don't know. They come up with these names, and after a while, it's crazy. Bavarian Nordic is one of the few companies in the world with an already approved MPOX vaccine. Funny how they had that ready to go. Other contenders, such as Emergent Biosolutions, have been available under special investigational protocols. Others, like Tonix, I almost said toxic, Tonix Pharmaceuticals have experimental shots that are in the earlier stages of development. LC16 is a smallpox vaccine listed in 1980 in Japan and then approved in July of 2022 for MPOX. It isn't commercially available, but there are large quantities in Japan's national stockpile, according to the Center for Infectious Disease Research and Policy. Like Jynneos, it is a third-generation MPOX vaccine that uses attenuated virus strains. So that might actually be good news, but we shall see what else is in it. Jynneos and ACAM 2000 can cause myocarditis, pericarditis, and other serious side effects at high rates, according to Dr. Merrill Nass, as the labels for both drugs indicate. So it's on the label for both of these that they can cause pericarditis and myocarditis. The Japanese LC16 vaccine has also been linked to encephalitis, Nass reported on her Substack today. The WHO is using the monkeypox outbreak in Africa to fast track under emergency use 2 monkeypox vaccines, according to Dr. Kat Lindley, a senior fellow at the FLCCC Family Medicine and president of the Global Health Project. We need to use discernment and evaluate risks and benefits before recommending any experimental new product to a vulnerable population, she said. The African CDC, in a LinkedIn post, said it needed 10 million doses to control the outbreak and called for global support for its vaccination efforts. Bavarian Nordic CEO Paul Chaplin told Bloomberg the company can provide 10 million doses of its vaccine to African countries over the next year and a half. In an interview Wednesday before today's stock price surge, Chaplin said, "We have inventory and we have capabilities. What we're missing are the orders." Well, they have the product before they have the orders, almost like they were ready. And yes, of course, you want to be ready because of the health scares that are coming down the road and the fact that they want to maximize profits. In May of 2022, the WHO announced it would phase out the name monkeypox and rename the disease MPOX to avoid the stigma generated by associating the disease with monkeys. So for, I guess, the benefit of monkeys, it's now called MPOX because monkeys are loved and cherished. So scrolling down here, the WHO declaration signals a public health risk requiring an international coordinated response. It can lead to WHO member countries and private investors pouring substantial resources into countries with outbreaks to facilitate sharing of vaccines, treatments, and testing. So it's all hands on deck. It's an election year, right? So it's got to be all hands on deck. Although in the U.S., monkeypox has appeared to be a mild illness, several lucrative government contracts in 2022 paid the vaccine makers hundreds of millions of dollars to stockpile the vaccines. The 2022 outbreak reportedly affected nearly 100,000 people, primarily gay and bisexual men, in 116 countries, and about 200 people died. Despite media hype and hundreds of thousands of dollars spent to stockpile MPOX vaccines in the U.S., the designation was quietly withdrawn in May of 2023, given the sustained decline in cases. So they just didn't have the cases to continue. MPOX was first detected in humans in 1970. The disease causes flu-like symptoms and pus-filled lesions. It is usually mild, but can be serious, particularly in people with weakened immune systems. And why would they have weakened immune systems? Interesting. In its announcement Wednesday, the WHO said the DRC is experiencing a severe outbreak of MPOX with 15,600 cases and 537 deaths. It said the current outbreak is caused by a virus strain or clade 1b that is more severe than clade 2, which was responsible for the outbreak in 2022. If you're not sure what clades are, I guess that's going to be put in your lexicon along with spike proteins. It appears to be spreading mainly through sexual networks. And it has been detected in neighboring countries of Burundi, Kenya, Rwanda, Uganda, with 100 laboratory-confirmed cases of clade 1b in total in those countries. Lindsay said health officials are most likely using PCR tests, which were shown during COVID-19, to generate a few false positives. We really have no idea, she said, if the alleged deaths are complications of people who have depressed immune systems and maybe are dying of other things. Why would we start mass vaccination with a new product for which we know nothing about the safety profile when common sense mitigation measures can work? If it is sexually transmitted, use a condom or, God forbid, people abstain from sex. I just don't understand. If if this is going to cause you a problem, then don't do that anymore. People apparently don't have any restraint, and they can't do the abstain part. If it can be transmitted through secretions, wash your hands and don't touch people with clinical presentation. So you don't want to touch people, and it's pretty common sense. If this is generally mild viral illness of killing people, what is the cause of death? Does it only cause death in severely immune suppressed patients? Are babies dying due to dehydration? Do we need to treat babies with fluids rather than give them a vaccine that was never tested in babies? Lots of unanswered questions, according to Brenda Belletti, PhD. All right. Or Nass, who wrote the Substack. So if you go to this Substack, it is Meryl Nass. So you can check out her work. Maybe I'll put a link in the description to her Substack. But it appears it's full steam ahead for more vaccines, more pandemics, and more outbreaks, and most importantly, more fear.